Gebra Mariam on the right, Emmanuel Mutai on the left. Mutai, after those two very powerful kicks along First Avenue, he's still got company. Gebra Mariam, James Kwambai, after threatening to get back into it, well, he's back there in third place and would appear to be settling for third as well. But Gebra Mariam, another marathon debutant, and on the basis of the way they look, although Mutai is always a wonderfully smooth-looking runner, it does just appear as if you're waiting for Gebra Mariam to switch into top gear.
Well, it's taken him, it took him almost, well, sort of just 1 hour 50 or 1 hour 50 something to throw the gloves, to get the gloves off, and obviously the hat's come off as well. So he's ready, we can say now, he's ready for action at the latter part of this race. But it's taken him a while to get his body up to temperature and to dispense with the gloves and the hat. But now he does look very comfortable. And, you know, anyone who's a world cross-country champion is a very versatile and talented athlete.
So the gloves coming off, literally, and you would have thought fairly shortly, metaphorically as well. But Gebra Mariam just looking across, and all his actions suggest he's just waiting for the right moment. Gebra Mariam, whose wife, Worknesh Kadani, was due to race here, but forced to withdraw last week because of a leg injury. And there were one or two quiet mumblings and saying, well, what odds would you offer for a husband and wife double? Well, that was dashed by the injury to Worknesh, but Gebra Mariam, who people were talking up in quiet corners, having had this glorious preparation with this tremendous form on the road in the United States. He was beaten in Philadelphia at the half marathon, but that the only blemish. And he comes here and he looks to have prepared perfectly. He's been suited, I think, by the modest early pace, which we saw in both the men's and women's races. But Emmanuel Mutai, who is arguably at the moment the most consistent marathon runner in the world, he just, whenever he lines up, he just seems to be there or thereabouts every time. The news, if you're just tuning in, about Haile Gebrselassie, well, we understand he had an MRI scan yesterday. News just trickling out. The story an hour or two before the start in New York was that he had got knee problems, bit of fluid on the knee. He was concerned about whether he would be strong enough to finish. Well, he pulled out on the Queensborough Bridge, so that's early in the second half of the race. And now we understand he did go for an MRI scan yesterday, so that's an illustration of just how concerned he was about his well-being. But look at these two. They appear as if they're running well within themselves, just bending into that latest climb through the park. But Gebra Mariam, well, he's just pushing, isn't he?
Yeah, I would say don't be deceived by the fact that they're wearing the same kit, because this is Kenya versus Ethiopia once again in a major race, a major championship. The kit sponsors mean that they're running in the same kit, but they're running for the pride of these great running nations, these great African running nations. And Gebra Mariam from Ethiopia is looking by far the best at this moment in time. He didn't look like he accelerated, it just looked like he eased himself away. He's got a very easy style, hardly any, very sort of, I can say, arm action which doesn't show great deal of movement. It's very relaxed, and the gap has suddenly become quite a significant one.
Well, he showed his speed and strength on the track as recently as the Athens Olympics, when he finished 4th in that Olympic final over 5,000 meters, won by Hisham El Garouj, with also behind Kenenisa Bekele. That's the sort of company he has to keep at home. But who knows, after a career which has seen him pick up global medals on the track as a junior, compete in the biggest finals on the track as a senior, maybe he has now found the territory which he can call his own and on which he's dominant. Because Gebra Mariam here, who was cruising around towards the back of the field, we didn't spot him for a long time. Eventually we saw him there with a tea cozy on his head. That went a while ago. He's lost the gloves, but metaphorically he's never really had to throw the gloves off and get on with a scrap here, because without ever having to apply any significant pressure, he has run ahead of this field. He had to cover moves from Emmanuel Mutai, Mutai now in second place. For Gebra Mariam, you do have to wonder if there's anybody around who could have competed with a man in this sort of form, because he's running away now from Emmanuel Mutai, and you can't even see him. I know there are a lot of twists and turns through Central Park, so it's easy to lose people here, but Gebra Mariam is winning this with lots in hand and in grand style.
Yeah, he's got a very easy style. It's easy on the eye. It looks effortless. I'm sure he's working hard, but it just looks easy from the way that he's running and applying the pressure here. He's obviously doing that because the gap has just grown significantly in a very short period of time.
He was a double World Junior medalist 8 years ago at the World Junior Championships. Bronze he picked up in the 5,000 meters, and then a gold in the 10,000 meters. Fourth in that Olympic 5,000 meter final in Athens in 2004. And what a race that was, behind great names like Hisham El Garouj and Kenenisa Bekele. At that point, he was just 20. He's now just 25, so he's not an old man in running terms by any means.
No, he's got a whole marathon career ahead of him at that age, and showing this sort of form and this ease with which he's really transitioned to the event is shows what talent he's got. Anyone who's a world cross-country champion, which he won in 2009, has got an immense amount of ability, because the world cross-country is one of them events where runners from all distances come together to run that from all over the world. So I think that is a major event to win, and I think if you've got the application to a marathon, then you've got really got all the opportunities and all the ability to become really a great marathon runner, and I think that's being shown here today on his debut.
So Gebra Mariam running around the southern end now of Central Park. It was at this stage a few years ago that one of the leading contenders got a bit lost, actually, wasn't it?
That's right.
Carmen Silva, I think it was, wasn't it? Yes, the Mexican athlete who took a wrong route, but then still had the strength and the presence of mind to rediscover the right route and go on and win the race.
It's going to be interesting going forward, though, because Gebra Mariam will be obviously in demand by the big city marathons in this spring. You know, here he is in New York, whether he'll decide to run in somewhere like London. And of course, when he enters a race where there's pacemakers in it, he may find a totally different approach to the race, being much faster through halfway. We've yet to obviously see how he goes in that, but certainly here, in what was relatively speaking a head-to-head race and a slow early race, by being slow in the first half, he's come out triumphant.
That's a very good point, isn't it, Eamon? Because they went very slowly over the first half, which has to be the way any debutant who's got terrific track speed would want the first half of a marathon to be run, and he's not going to get that when he goes to London. He's going to get 62 minutes through to 13.1 miles, isn't he, in London, which he clearly didn't get here. Yeah,
if he chooses to run in London, and I'm sure he's going to run in, I'd expect him to probably run in London. Certainly he'll look at a spring marathon. London is the biggest spring marathon. There are others. There's obviously Boston, Rotterdam, etc., Paris, but I'm sure he'll look at something like London, because obviously on this performance, it'll be really worth his while to do that. And it will be a totally different approach with pacemakers, as it would be if he ran Berlin. So he's got to make that decision. But obviously, the ability he's showing here, the talent he's got, he shouldn't really fear anything.
Well, we're just going to pass the time of the course record. Tesfaye Giffard of Ethiopia, 2:7:43. He ran in 2001. But Gebra Mariam is full of running as he goes through the last stretch. Emmanuel Mutai is well behind. Gebra Mariam takes the opportunity to enjoy it, and the legs are certainly not showing the effects of having run 26 miles, 385 yards. The time, as we say about New York, is significant. It's insignificant, really, in comparison with the achievement. Well, We expected to have a Geb win in New York, but in all honesty, not many people were saying it would be Gebra Mariam. Haile Gebrselassie, well, his hopes of winning a first marathon in New York ended on the Queensborough Bridge. But there you can see Gebra Mariam just celebrating with his agent. It has been a tremendous moment, and what a career may lie ahead for this young man. Just 25, his first marathon, and he's won it in grand style. Emmanuel Mutai comes through for second place, another second place in a major city marathon for the Kenyan.
And I think Gebra Mariam, his second half there was round about 62 minutes 50. So I think that shows on a course that isn't fast, that is a very fast second half here in New York, and I think it shows he was full of running and he has got a wealth of ability.
So Emmanuel Mutai, second place in London in the spring, second in New York in the fall. So it's certainly been an occasion when the marathon debutants have had terrific runs. Gebra Mariam winning the men's race, Shalane Flanagan and Mary Keitany finishing in the first three in the women's race. Well, this man made one of the early breaks, Kip Kosgei, who rather flew under the radar today, but he hit the front at one point, and he's hung on very well indeed, and he's going to come in for a fast finish. James Kwambai, well, the wheels have come off his challenge. And other people, prominent names, have disappointed. Meb Keflezighi, not that many people have come here and won marathons back-to-back, and Keflezighi is the latest man to fail. Well, we had a Kiplagat win the women's race. We've got a Kip Kosgei coming through here for an impressive finish in the men's race. Moses Kip Kosgei, who came here with a lifetime best of 2:10. And the American challenge, and this is the best of them. Nathan Ritzenheim, coached by Alberto Salazar, former winner here, of course. The penultimate American winner of this race. And James Kwambai, who looked so good for so long, but the last 3 or 4 miles and the undulations of Central Park have taken their toll.